Authorities in Pennsylvania investigating a school hazing incident. This time, a 16-year-old by the name of Austin Babinsack, who is autistic, and he was the victim. State trooper found him duct taped to a soccer goal and helped free him. Officials say that Babinsack was taped to the goal for about 15 minutes. He said members of the boys' soccer team are to blame. School district has suspended the team's coach and 2 of the players for 5 days.
They duct taped my hands, my legs, all the way up to my waist, all around the whole pool, and tightened it as hard as they could. And then they attempted to try to take a picture of it. I told them no, and they walked off in frustration.
I feel the coach knew. He wasn't there, but he knew that it was happening. He knows that it's been going on. So he's the adult. I mean, these are kids, let's face it, they're 17. But, you know, we have to hold the adults accountable first before we can hold the kids accountable.
Keep that thought about who should be held accountable. And this incident obviously comes on the heels of that disturbing hazing allegations that are coming out of Sayreville in New Jersey. That's where the school superintendent has canceled the balance of the high school football program for the whole season. The freshman, JV, and varsity teams, after allegations surfaced that players are said to have harassed, bullied, intimidated, and even sodomized freshman players in the team, this being the upperclassmen. Local prosecutor is investigating the claims. In the meantime, some of the students are actually furious about how this has been handled, and almost as amazingly, if not more so, so are some of the parents.
Kids who didn't do anything are suffering. Now, we're not going to have that closure of finishing our senior year, going out like we wanted to go out. It got taken from us for something that we didn't even know was going on.
I was at the police station with him when they were questioning him, and they were talking about a butt being grabbed, and that's about it. No one was hurt, no one died. I don't understand why they're being punished.
I know that the county prosecutor's office doesn't waste their resources unless they think there's something credible.
Let me give some credit before we get into the school superintendent in Sayreville, where the team is highly decorated in terms of winning state championship multiple times in the last 10 years. For him to shut down the program took some courage, and I think without a doubt he did the right thing if you're going to send a message. But guys, you hear, and there's a lot more of the press conferences I don't have time to play, but the parents saying, you know, hey, you know, maybe one game, but if you read the details of the allegation, reportedly on a daily basis this was going on. A player would give out a signal, a whistle, or whatever. They'd shut the lights off, and for 10 minutes, they'd throw these kids down and do unspeakable stuff to these kids day after day after day, to pretend we've all played sports, right? We've all been in locker rooms. You played even on the college level, that a coach doesn't know what's going on. Please. And secondly, that this is somehow just a little mistake and a one-game suspension maybe will do the trick. Come on. Yeah. I mean, this is not. And the parents, to me, so misplaced where their anger is. It shouldn't be at the school. It shouldn't be at the superintendent. It should be looking at both themselves, their kids, even if the kids weren't involved. If they knew what was going on, they didn't say anything about this. But please, how about the kids that were victimized? You know, that's not part of going out for the football team.
When I played football on the college level, our rite of passage, you know, there's hazing and there's bullying, that's not tolerable. Our rite of passage was, as a freshman, you had to get your hair cut. And that was it. You had the older people on the squad supervising, making sure everything was done properly.
Probably carry the gear of the upperclassmen, right?
You know, simple stuff, the rite of passage. And the seniors would make sure that everything was done copacetically. Here, these seniors in this high school were out of control. Sodomizing freshmen, that's absolutely ridiculous, and they should pay the absolute price. No, they should pay because they were not acting responsible and accountable.
I'm going to venture into difficult territory.
I'm with you.
Look, you speak of these events as though you know they happened.
Right.
What's happened in the last 2 months is because there's been a culture of unspeakable idiocy and violence in professional football, in these high school incidents, that the allegation themselves has become sufficient for a thoughtful person like yourself to say, they did it. I worry.
Okay, Richard, let's say due process takes place. I understand your point, a rational point. In the interim, Do you allow the football to go on?
It's a very, very difficult question.
I don't think it is.
Well, hold on.
And I didn't hear anybody denying the allegations.
Well, because you're not listening, okay? And I'm not suggesting that you need courtroom proof to make a decision. I'm not suggesting that a superintendent can't come and look at the culture of the program and say, we're shutting it down. What I'm saying is there's been more and more and more, because these acts that we think happened are so reprehensible, a willingness to say they did it. Duke lacrosse team. There are incidents where innocent people have been accused of doing unspeakable things that hadn't done them. The dangerous territory I'm entering into is worrying that we're heading towards allegations being sufficient for people to take actions that hurt people who may or may not have done it. I throw it out there and I run for cover.
I don't know, Duke is a far cry from
I
what
think so.
happened.
We're talking about 14-year-old kids here that had no one to speak for them. And I understand your point, and I'm not saying where can you come up with that, but no one's going to jail. No one's throwing them out before they have their day in court. We're talking about football, which is a privilege, not a right.
It's true.
And the team and the school, more importantly, needs to send a message as what is tolerable and what isn't, and what they won't abide by, even in through the investigation. You know, and for the kids to say, oh, my opportunities, yeah, maybe somebody, their college chances may be marginalized. If it turns out they never did anything, you know, this is
Collateral
a smart place
damage?
to play. There could be some, but you know what? There'd be
that's a
worse collateral
small-
damage if they kept playing like none of this ever happened.
If the stuff happened.
I
We
will
are
bet
accepting
$10
as
that it
fact
happened.
things
Yeah.
that
I
are
bet $10
allegations.
that it happened.
I'll bet $10 it happened. I know you got to go to a break. The kids that did it should be prosecuted by the district attorney, but they shouldn't lose their entire season. I'm sorry, Richard. They should be allowed to play.
You
They
know,
need,
when I
they
was-
can
the
lose
kids who
a
did it
game
or
or
the
two.
kids who
No,
did it?
no. The kids that did it should be prosecuted
No,
criminally.
you cannot stand idly by and let something
Yeah.
happen. When I was in the Army, if somebody did something wrong, we all got punished.
And by
they
the
was
way,
to say,
But-
you ever heard of
but
Penn
what if
State?
you didn't know?
What
But
happened
what
at
if you
Penn
didn't
State?
know?
A lot of those players said we did nothing, right? Sandusky was a coach. The players weren't involved at all.
Years
I'm a
before.
Penn State fan. You know what? The school should have paid a price for that. A message has to be sent that's delivered not just to the people in the room, but for the people that will follow them as well. That'll have to be the last word tonight here, but I want to thank all the guys for joining us. We'll see you back here tomorrow evening at 6 p.m.